This video is going to be a little bit different, right? Because I want to speak about and touch on the points that, a lot of people want to hear. How I got started. I briefly did a video on basically where I started in my journey, gave a little brief background about how I started and how I got to where I am today. But obviously since that video, a lot has changed. So basically what I want to do in this video, I want to just break it down and show how I got to where I am, showing the certain steps, and just, maybe you're in the exact same position and you want to, get out of the situation that you're currently in, but you don't know how. And look, I've been in that situation before. I've been in that situation multiple times. Let me tell you, I've worked over 11 different jobs, and every time I have it all figured out. If I've got this next big master plan move, I end up changing it. I end up changing over and over again. And at the same time, guys, like this built me into the character that I am today, and I would never regret anything that I ever done, because I'm so grateful for a life that I actually live, but I'm so grateful for the risks that I took along the way. Now, again, we will get to the trading aspect and how I got into trading, etc. But it's important to know that, without taking these risks, a lot of them at the time, again, if I told people, they would be like, Luke, you've been fucking crazy, right? Like, don't do this. Like, you don't have a plan B. You don't have anything laid out. You just go in there full force, and they were correct, 100%. But at the same time, what was the best part about it was that I knew there was no plan B. So plan A had to work. Regardless of how long it's going to take, the outcome that it's going to give me, I knew that if I didn't go all in on the situation, it's either that or nothing, and every single situation, no matter how tough, strenuous, scary it was, stepping out of my environment, stepping out of my comfort zone every single time. But you know why this was the greatest feeling ever? Because like everyone was telling me don't do it, or like, oh, you crazy to do this and stuff. And that's what made me even more excited to just jump in and do it. And every time I was scared as shit, 100%. I didn't want to do it, It took me sometimes a long time to figure things out. I always said I was a fast learner in certain things, but a lot of things didn't take me that quick, And, again, if I'm getting back to the trading side, like a lot of you guys want to jump to, making money. But like, you guys don't understand that it does sometimes take time. Some people take longer than others. Like, in certain things that I did, when I first become a waiter, for example, right? When I was first a waiter, like it took me ages to figure out the menu. Like you don't understand how long it took me to figure out this menu. We were at a fine dining restaurant, right? And I was like sitting for days trying to figure out this menu, right? Like it was almost an impossible mission, right? That's how most of you guys see the charts now. Most of you guys look at a chart and you're like, I'm never going to figure this out. You're right. You're never going to figure it out if you never try. Because I sat looking at that menus and I kept telling myself like, there's no ways I'm going to figure this out. But I looked at someone on the right. I'm like, they did it. So like, why can't I do it? So over time, I slowly started to learn the menu. But you know what made me learn the menu fast enough was that I put it into practice. I made mistakes. But then I learned from those mistakes. So like I would say something like, oh, this is your ambush push with the, no, I can't even remember for now. But, at the time I was like this, I maybe made a mistake. Like maybe I said chicken instead of beef or, whatever the case is. But then I was like, oh, I'm never going to make that mistake again because it made me look stupid. But I had to look stupid in order to learn from that mistake. So guys, obviously to get back to like why I made this video and like what I want to talk to you about, it's just important to know like, in order to achieve anything in life, in order to achieve what exactly you want, you need to make mistakes. Put yourself out there, make yourself look stupid, because at the end of the day, you don't want to look stupid twice, right? The strategy, in order for me to learn a strategy in terms of trading, that didn't change my life. But what I actually did, it was a mindset shift. So now guys, in this video, I just gave you a little brief background about obviously taking risks, making mistakes, and adapting to new environments. Now again, obviously, I wish I had this video, me talking to you guys right now. Please make sure to watch this till the end of the video because you will get some sort of insight and some sort of value, especially if you're too scared to jump into a situation, especially in trading. Because again, when you first start trading, it can be one of the scariest things, the most exciting things, but also the most depressing things. And this is a video I wish I watched back then because this would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of money. I know exactly why you're watching this video. And I'm gonna tell you just flat out and blunt the reality of it. You guys are here because you want to make money in trading, right? Let me just tell you the harsh reality. A lot of the times in the beginning, a lot of traders don't make any money. Why? It's because they don't look up to someone and they think they can do it all by themselves. Now again, I'm not saying I'm the person that you can look up to. I'm not saying I'm the person that that's going to guide you, but you need to have some sort of stability. You need to have some sort of groundwork before entering the space. Remember the fact that, a lot of people are entering this market. A lot of people are coming into this market from all ages, right? Now, you want to be that special person that quits his 9 to 5, quits his job, and goes full-time trading, right? Again, what makes you special from that next person, right? You got to put that into perspective, right? What makes you from an employee to a manager is because you put in a little bit more time than the employee, and now you become a manager, right? You put in more extra time, you're doing extra tasks, and you're just proving yourself in a different way. Now, again, this is exactly the same as trading. Yes, anyone can click buy, anyone can click sell, and they can make money. That's the reality. Sometimes when the new person comes in, they click buy, they make money. You've been trading for 10 years. I click sell, I lose money. Why? Again, because that just could be pure luck. It's like at the same time going to the casino, right? What ends up happening? Someone who's been playing for like years and like, oh no, bro, I can read the cards. Yeah, bro, if they bring me like you're on the blackjack table, it's like, oh, they got a 16, bro, I'm gonna double down on that. Obviously never do that, but it's like, bro, I know the markets. Then like, for example, your buddy comes, and tell me this hasn't happened to you. Like your friend that comes brand new, he comes with the lowest amount of money. You come with thousands, he comes with like 100 euros. He works out with like 500. He's so happy. You just spent thousands, and he was like, oh, bro, this is so easy. I don't know why we don't do this. Now, this is the same mentality that a lot of people have in trading. You see, as soon as they click that buy button, they get that rush, they get that excitement. They're like, oh, this is so easy, right? And then, later down the line, you ask them what happened, and they're like, oh no, I lost all my money, unfortunately. I tried, I don't know. Because they didn't really understand what they were doing, right? That's the reality. They didn't understand technical analysis. They didn't understand, anything behind that. They didn't test out their strategy. They didn't actually put in the work. Now, guys, I'm just going to show you the exact mindset and the shift that I had to go through. Remember, in the beginning, you may be making like $50, $100. Maybe right in the beginning stage, you were happy with $5, $10. Any money that you're making was exciting. Now, guys, I'm at a stage now where I am comfortable with losing $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 per trade. Why? Because it obviously matches my risk tolerance. It matches my strategy. Like, it's okay for me because my account size is at a certain balance, right? But in the beginning, if I had to lose $3,000, $2,000, got to look back a couple of years ago, right? I was making 150 euros a month working as a plumber. Then I was working, let's say, as a waiter. Then I was earning, let's say, 1,000 euros a month, which was quite good back in South Africa. Then you take it back and you say, now I'm losing, let's say, like I'm comfortable with losing $2,000 to $5,000 a trade in one single day. Now, I used to slave away working for 30 days, almost a month, let's say 25 if you have days off, whatever the case is. But I used to work those days, 12-hour shifts, trying to make that 1,000. Imagine that. One day, one trade, your whole balance is just wiped out. Now, what does that take? This obviously takes a big mindset shift, right? What does it take? Confident in what you're doing. Because I'm confident in my trading ability to understand that I traded correctly. I've been doing this for years, and this is okay. This makes sense why I lost this, because I was taking this trade based on my strategy and based on my probability of the direction of the move. Now, again, it didn't go in my direction, but that didn't mean that I'm a failure. This is just a part of trading. I know that I can never have a 100% win rate in trading. So I know that a loss is going to come. Regardless if I go on a 20, 30 winning spree on trading, I know that there's just a loss around the corner, but I'm not going to be thinking like that. And I'm not going to be upset when I lose the trade. Again, obviously there's a certain point in my life where I've got to now. And yes, again, losing sucks. I don't like to lose. I don't like to lose in anything. If it's a game, if it's like football, if it's paddle, I don't like to lose. And you probably the exact same. You don't like to lose, right? But it's an understanding point that it's like, okay, could I have done something better? Did I try my best? Then it's okay. Because at the end of the day, there's always gonna be a winner and there's gonna be a loser. Now again, guys, when I ask you guys, a lot of people in my community, like, what is your goal when you want to start trading? I wanna make tons of money. And that is like the first thing people say, and it already sets them up for failure, right? When you enter a job for the first time and your manager says to you, where do you see yourself in the next few years? Like, I'll probably become a manager. It's like, okay, cool. But let's say I was a waiter at the time. I'm telling him, no, I see myself as the owner. Great mindset, 100%. But again, you need to go through being a waiter, you go being a floor leader, then you need to be going as a manager. the restaurant manager, then you need to go up and up and up and up before you can be the owner. So you need to go through the foundations before you can be making the big P's at the top with the owner side, Obviously then you need to own your own company, for example. But it's obviously logic. In trading, you can't make the big P's unless you have the foundation in set. Start making your $10, your $20, $30 consistently. Start on a very small amount. Start something that's realistic, that's not going to affect your bank balance, that's not going to affect your family, it's not going to affect your financial situation. It's not something that's going to bother your mood, right? Because at the end of the day, most of the people that start trading, they're looking for a way out. And in the beginning, you got to have a few months to a few years of sacrifice and learning. That's not going to come easy. You're going to have losses, you're going to have wins, and you're going to have a lot of emotions in between. It's going to take some time to get through these emotions. So guys, what's like some of the common mistakes when people jump into trading, right? This is something I see on multiple occasions. Is a lot of the time the people come in, they jump into trading, they're like all excited. And like I mentioned before earlier in this video, I mentioned that people, the main goal is to make money. So when they see that how easy it is to make money, let's say they made their first $1,000, they put in 100, 200, and then they made $1,000. So easy, right? And then they go, let me just increase my lot size. They lose their account in less than 10 seconds. This is what happened to me. This is what happens to a lot of people because they get too confident, they get too cocky in the markets. And at the same time, the market doesn't care about anyone. And that's the reality. It doesn't care about if your emotions, doesn't care if you had a bad day, good day, doesn't care what happened in your life. You didn't check at your risk. You can't go and a lot of people at the same time, I've heard some ridiculous things why people have blown their accounts, right? I've heard that their brother came in and then pushed the account and they, I made a mistake, for example. I didn't mean to do that, I knocked my coffee over and the mouse clicked, the coffee mug clicked the mouse and it clicked by and I was in the bathroom. It's like, what? And the whole time, a lot of people just never want to accept because that time that they were wrong, they probably were staring at their screen, knowing exactly that they did something wrong, but they were guessing that it was going to go right. And then boom, it went wrong. And now they sit and they think, shit, let me just blame something else. Let me just blame another factor instead of just looking and blaming myself. Because as soon as you start to take accountability in trading, this is when you start making the real cash. And another thing is what beginner traders always do in the beginning, they always set themselves unrealistic targets, when they enter the markets, right? And a lot of the times they will have this I need to make $500 today. I need to make $1,000 today. And then you ask them what's your account balance? Oh no, it's only $200 or $300. It's all right. So you want to just casually 3x your account in a single day. It's wow, with that mindset, that's incredible. What if you 3x'd in your life, right? That hasn't been luck or gamble, because it can happen. You can go to the casino and you can gamble and you can get that. You can do that in trading as well. No guarantee. But how consistently can you do that? Maybe you got lucky once, maybe you got lucky twice, but over a long period of time, the luck's going to run out. And this is the reality what happens. Most people can go on a spree, but then a lot of times they'll get one trade wrong. They'll be like, oh, no, it's just the markets. Oh, no, it's whatever. Do it again. They lose again. No, damn, I didn't see there was a news event. Damn, lose again. By this time, probably lost the whole account because they put it in more lots, more risk on the table, and then what ends up happening is just boom, the whole account is just gone. Look guys, it wasn't until obviously I had a big mind shift, and again guys, obviously this didn't come in a short period of time. I've been trading for the past 8 years, and through that I've stopped trading, regained trading, tried it again, stopped, tried it again, but always felt like I could do this. And this was the big difference when I was trading. It's I knew I could do it, but maybe I just wasn't mature enough mentally. Maybe I just needed a bit more time. Maybe I just didn't have the right funds, the capital at the time. Maybe I just wasn't in the correct mental state, financial state. So when I got to a point in my life where I'm I feel comfortable with my financial situation, I feel comfortable with my overall situation, I can put in a lot more time, and losses won't affect me as much, because anything in life, when you start, you pretty much suck at it. And this is the reality. Unless you find a good mentor or someone you can look up to and someone you can learn from in the early stages, that you can avoid all the mistakes that I have made in the beginning stages, you obviously have to go through this yourself. If you're going to go through something alone and you have no guidance, you will have to face, going through these struggles in the beginning, for sure. And here's something I tell the community, right? The market is always giving you an opportunity, but the market's not always giving you money. Why do I say this? Why is this important? It's because a lot of times when I talk about opportunity, maybe it's giving you an option to refine your decision making or even to build discipline. Like again, some of the times, in my community, a lot of people are asking like, oh, I need like 20, 30 trades, bro. That's the only way I'm going to be profitable. I need to take so many trades. And sometimes I just say, hey guys, like I am not trading at the moment. I don't feel comfortable in the current market conditions. And a lot of the times people be like, then you can't trade. If you can't trade in every market condition, it's like, no, that's not the case. That just means that I know my strategy and I'm not comfortable in the current market conditions. That doesn't mean that I'm not taking trades. I've seen multiple very, very successful traders that they won't trade for like weeks at an end. They're like, no, the market is not giving me the direction. It's giving me no entries, no feasible entries that I can take. And this is completely normal, but a lot of the new people are like, no, you can't trade. I don't think, because like I caught a buy today. Why couldn't you catch a buy today? Like I caught a sell today. A lot of the time it's like, okay, good for you, bro. Like, if you manage to make money, maybe it was a part of your strategy. I don't know your strategy. So maybe it works for you, but it doesn't work for me. When the market presents the right opportunity for me, for example, maybe you can't trade in it. Maybe you just have a bad month, So instead of trying to figure out a certain thing in this sort of time, I just rather just stay out the market. Again, a lot of times the market can give you a lot of opportunities. Now, again, it's not necessarily to say, I'm not trading gold, but I can also go trade Euro USD, for example. I can also look at other pairs, maybe some other pairs that are aligning with my strategy. So I don't say there's never a chance not to trade, but maybe in a specific time, specific period. It's just looking too volatile and too choppy in those moments. Like I said, guys, like a lot of new traders would look at it and be like, Luke, you're being silly. Luke, you're wasting your time. But again, guys, like I said, this is not a part of my strategy. Like I'm not going to let someone else tell me what the right and wrong thing is to do, especially when I've had so much skill in this market. It's hard to tell me otherwise. It's like someone like, if I can give an example, it's like you working in your industry for 20 years, for example, 10 years, let's say 10 years, because I'm closer to 10 years than obviously 20. But let's say you've been working there for 8 years and this new kid comes on the block and he's like, hey, don't do this. Or like, let's say when I was a plumber, obviously my guy had like 8 years of experience or almost 10 years experience. And it's like me coming to tell him what to do. It's like, oh no, bro, don't put the pipe there. Don't know what you're doing. It's like, no, dude, like I definitely know what I'm doing. I'm well experienced, so it's hard to tell someone how to change things. Obviously everyone makes mistakes and that's fine. Like he's only human, but he definitely knows what he's doing. And if it's raining outside and he says, no, we can't do it today, there's probably a reason why he can't do it today, And that could be the market conditions. Market conditions aren't good. He's not going to take a trade today. He doesn't want to do his job today because of certain conditions. We might slip, we might fall, someone might get injured, so he's not saying that he's incapable of doing it today. It's just that he's not going to put his team at risk. And that's for me. Sometimes I won't put my community at risk, because I'm not going to give them unnecessary or bad ideas. And guys, remember, I am okay with not taking a trade in a day. That's perfectly fine. You will get to the stage. When you watch this video, if you follow my journey, if you follow all my videos, you'll understand that some days the market just doesn't present an opportunity. And you're going to understand this 100%. And then you're going to come and be like, yeah, I didn't take a trade today. I'm going to ask you, how do you feel? I feel better. Because if I had to take a trade, Luke, I would have lost. So I'm glad I actually stayed out the market. Then you feel 10 times better because you're like, I stayed out the market. Again, you could also just not enter a certain position and then it might go in the opposite direction. You're like, I should have got in that trade. But this is the thing, I don't get FOMO. You will see when gold was pushing to all-time highs, there was not an opportunity for me to get in. There was an opportunity right at the bottom, but there was an opportunity right at the top there for me, like right when it just kept going. Didn't align with my strategy. Now again, most people were just like buy, until one day gold decides to tank and they try and catch the bottom, they try and catch the lower high. But it just kept dropping, create lower lows, and then you end up getting your account wrecked because you just were gambling and it was just going to continue going higher. But whatever goes up must come down, and that's in trading as well. Let me give you an example. Let's use trader A as example. So he comes into the market always looking to make money. That's his main goal. Got to make money. He's saying, I got to make money today. Got to make a certain amount. He's just so like indulged with the fact of just making money. And that's great because the whole idea of trading is at the end of the day, you want to make money. He's only focused about passing. How's he going to pass his prop account? How's he going to get funded one day? How's he going to get his payouts? Just looking at the next step, right? So trader A doesn't really care. Good setup, bad setup, aligns with your strategy, doesn't align with strategy, it doesn't matter. He's got a plan that he needs to trade every single day, right? Now, let's take trader B, for example, now. So trader B comes in the markets and he just wants to make the correct decisions. He wants to everything needs to align with his strategy. He's a lot more patient. He's okay if he doesn't make money today. He's okay if he loses money today, but at the end of the day, he needs to wait for his setups to align. This trader is coming to market, on one condition. He wants to make sure that he wants to build the habits that's going to lead him into a longevity. So his goal, he's coming in here to have one goal and one goal only, right? He wants to come in the markets and he wants to build long-term habits so that he can be a long-term successful trader. He's not in it for the short term. He knows that one day he's going to become a swing trader. He's going to have maybe run trades on 4-hour, daily, weekly time frames. He's going to have a larger capital. So he doesn't need to look at the markets every single day because he has a long-term plan that he wants to follow in his strategy, and that's great. The guy who's just trading every single day, the guy that just wants this every single day, is also fine. I know very successful traders. I'm not saying trader A is the person that's taking a trade every day, but he's taking trades unnecessarily. He just wants to make a trade every single day. But trader B is waiting for the right setups. It doesn't matter if it's today, tomorrow, if it takes an hour, 4 hours, that's fine for him. Now, ask yourself the question, based on what I just said, which one do you think is going to be the better trader? So if you answered trader B, you're 100% correct. Trader B is going to be process orientated, and trader A is only going to be outcome orientated. Now again, what I mean by trader A and trader B, like what's the biggest difference between them? Like I mentioned before, I said that trader B waits for his setups. Trader A is focusing on more daily setups. He's waiting for, every day he needs to make money. He needs to make a certain amount. So he's already given himself the lower end by, let's say for example, his target was 500. Now, let's say his account balance was, let's say $1,000. He just lost $500, for example. Obviously that's really bad trading. But, obviously lost 50% of his account in one day, but his goal was to make 500. Now, what do you think trader A is going to do? Trader A is firstly going to try and make his $500 back so he doesn't feel bad about losing the money that he already did. So what does this mean? He needs to take the same amount of risk that he did in the first trade and do it again. So what does this lead into? A chance of him losing in his entire balance. This guy, he needs to obviously get to a point, trader A needs to get to a point where he's making some sort of money today because his goal is to make 500. At the minimum, he needs to make some sort of money. So this is going to make him do crazy irrational decisions, not according to his plan, because now he's already down 50% and now he's just like, I need to make my money back. It's the only way I'm going to be happy. Now, let's take trader B. Trader B will most likely have his risk management in play. He would be doing the right risk management. Let's say his account is not risking maybe 1 to 2%, whatever the case is on his account, so he's not risking more than that because he's not chasing the money. He's chasing the strategy that works for him because he knows that one day he's going to be able to scale a bigger account. So obviously 1% or 2% on $1,000 isn't a lot of money. But then once you get to 100,000, a million, for example, this is when it gets 1 or 2% becomes a lot of money. So he's waiting for more the idea for him to know that, okay, one day my account will be scaled and I will grow my account gradually. It might take me longer than, let's say, trader A, who's just going to make maybe $10,000 in a couple days, with that $1,000, if he can do that. But I know he's going to lose that balance just as quick. Let's say trader B takes, say now 1 year to get to that $10,000. It's going to take him obviously a very long time for him to lose all that money. See now guys, I used to be trader A, but now obviously I've spoken about trader B in the sense that what I am today. So I'm speaking about an experienced trader. That's what I'm comparing to a person. So trader A is obviously, if you didn't catch that, obviously trader A was an inexperienced trader. He's coming into the market trying to get a quick flip. Trader B is trying to learn a strategy that's going to work for him in the long term. So me, I can enter the market, let's say for example, I'm trading with a $100,000 account, whatever the case is. I'm comfortable with losing $2,000 in a trade because that's okay. It's not a big percentage of my account. That fits in my strategy. But back then when I used to have $1,000, obviously like 1 or 2% wasn't that significant. But now when I get to 100,000, I'm so grateful that I actually learned those lessons because I'm like, it's fine because I only lost 2%. If I did it on a small account, I would have done the same strategy, the same setup, and I would have lost obviously a little bit less, but I would have lost the same percentage. So I shifted my mindset with working with percentages instead of actually the value of money. So here's another critical piece about trading. A lot of the time, this is what I like to do. I used to do this a lot back in the day, but I used to do it not as much. I used to just neglect this. I've spoken about this in previous videos, but it's very important. Journaling your trades, always going back, even if it was a loss, guys. I know it's tough to look through a loss, but these losses can teach you the most. I'm telling you now, when you look back at a loss, you can learn so much from that. I know it's tough. I know you lost your $1,000. I know you lost $200, $300, $1,000, whatever the case is. I know it's tough to look back because you just have like such anger when you're looking at that chart again, but you can learn so much and take away so much from that trade. Trust me, guys. So there's certain things you can look for, like, did I follow my setup? Did I follow the correct plan? Did I look at news events? Could I have waited? Was there my actual entry point, or was I just entering at a random moment? Was it because, I was frustrated that day? Maybe I had a bad day. What was the exterior factors? Was there any exterior factors, firstly, that maybe, could have impacted the way I took that trade? Was there anything I could have done differently? So guys, one of the hardest lessons I had to ever learn in trading was when to walk away. Walk away from a loss, walk away from a bad strategy, walk away from a bad setup. When was it the right time to walk away? Because obviously there's a time and place that you need to do this. You need to accept that something isn't working and you got to move on with it. That can be in anything in life. You got to just accept your losses and move on. Like I mentioned before, Trader A, let me get back to that. Obviously Trader A might have made a lot of money, but then he lost so much money and now he's in this denial phase. And what is Trader A going to do? He's going to spend the whole day just figuring out, why did I lose the money? I could have just waited. I could have just done this. Could have done this differently, But the whole reality was, the core fundamental of that whole thing was like he rushed to get to that 10K. He rushed to get to that in the first place. What does he expect? The faster you get something, the quicker it goes as well. Good things always take time. Patience always pays. And this is with everything in life, anything that you do. The more time it takes you to do something, the more rewarding it is, firstly, and the more satisfying the results are after. And trust me, when you take, let's say, a year to grow that account from, let's say, $1,000 to $10,000, you're going to learn so much more than that person, Trader A, for example, that made that money, let's say, in a couple weeks or a month or a day. So guys, let me leave you with this. Success in trading is measured by habits, not always the outcomes. See guys, if I come into a trade, and let's say, for example, I did everything correctly, followed my trade setup and followed my plan, but I still lost $1,000. That was a successful day because not only did I follow my habits, follow my rules and follow my strategy, and there was nothing I could have faulted. The market just didn't go according to the direction that I wanted it to, but I followed every single thing. I followed risk management, I followed my strategy, I followed the exact entry point, and I respected the trade setup. That is successful. Always remember, guys, one day isn't going to define you. 1 week isn't going to define you. It's about those monthly habits. When you can look back on a month or 2 months or 3 months, I always say if you can do something in train space for 3 months consistently, every single month for 3 months, you are doing something right. But if everything's falling apart within the first month, maybe you need to change it up. Maybe you need to change your strategy. Maybe you need to look for a different mentor. Maybe you just need to, sit back, figure out stuff, or maybe go back to the drawing board and start to learn a bit more before you get into this. Right guys, so here's what I want you to take away from this video. Number 1, stop focusing on always making the money. Start focusing on making the right decisions. Number 2, the market's always going to give you opportunities, even when it's not giving it to you in terms of trades. Number 3, be process orientated, not outcome orientated. Number 4, learn to recognize market conditions and adjust your approach. Number 5, journal your trades and learn from your losses. Number 6, learn the discipline to know when to walk away, when the market's not giving you the direction that you want or it's not giving you the right setups. Now guys, if you apply these principles, you will become a better trader, because this is what I did in order to become a more successful trader. As always, if this video offered you any value, make sure to smash that subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next video. I post new educational content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you want to see, guys, my daily analysis, live updates, and like pretty much what I'm getting up to on a daily basis, make sure to join my free Telegram community. And what I can ask from you guys, one thing, leave in the comments what you guys are struggling with the most. You're struggling with mentality, you're struggling with setups. What is you struggling with? So very curious to know where you guys are in your journey and like what is your biggest struggles. And guys, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thanks again for watching. If you watch this video right till the very end, and I'll see you in the next one.